Are we here? Yes, yes. I just took a coffee in the same mug that we are painting. It's going to be a little bit weird for me. Okay, so let's finish with this painting. I was realizing that maybe this is too light in comparison, but we can leave this like that. Now we are going to just grab a smaller brush and make some details, some refinements, some corrections to make everything work really nice. So first thing is that here we have this reflection, this shape, but we have a second one in the reference. I don't know if you can see that, but we have two glasses, so one reflection, two reflections. Same fruit, but with two reflections. So we are going to do that. I will, okay. We are going to just grab some oranges in this coffee that we have. That's why I like saving some colors if I can. And it's super, super subtle, but maybe just doing something like that. Let's try. I don't know if this is going to be difficult or not, but maybe just adding a second pair of, okay, like that and like that. And if I don't want to change the color of the thing that I am putting, I can change the surrounding color. So I can take again this purplish color super fast and make more contrast. Something like that. Yeah, I think that will do the job. And we need something light, but not too much, to just make a couple of lines. Be careful. So something like that. This way, I don't know if it will be good. Maybe I can blur this a bit. I have some white brushes. Maybe I can do this. I don't usually use this to blend. I don't want to ruin the brushwork, but just for you to see, maybe this can work if you have some brushes like this with a lot of hair, or you can use brushes like this, of course, flat, but with wider presets. I don't know. So this was the first thing that I was watching in the break. I'm going to say one thing and stop 1 minute. One thing and stop 1 minute. So we are going to go fast with these small adjustments. Okay. So that means that we can continue, right? So other thing that I can see in the reference is this part here. So I think we need something to define that. So let's do some dark color some lines. And again, if I don't want to go super dark with that, I can just put a lighter color in the surrounding. So like that, we have some reflection happening there. And the last thing, with some whitish color that we have on the palette, I am using this remaining here. Super subtle, I am going to add just some lines. So that's the second little thing. Again, 1 minute, and we'll do the next. Let me know if you need more time, but the key here is to just change things easy, fast, quick, without spending too much time in the same detail. Because if we overwork one thing, one small thing, we work it a lot, we are going to lose freshness, we are going to make it moody. So we are going to just let it happen, even though this may be not perfect. We are going to let that happen and see if it works, continue with the next one. And when we finish everything, we are going to see if something needs to be fixed or not. Again, next thing. Mm, I think we can add some reds here because this is not entirely accurate. So we are going to do something to fix that. Something like that is enough. We have this half reflection slash light or shadow edge. So just with that, I think it's fixed. Okay. Are we ready for the next thing? Yes. If I am going too fast, let me know because we are good in time. Okay. So we are going to fix this now. I think this edge needs to be fixed. So we need something less orange to make this. I think it's somehow blue. If we color pick, it's gray, super gray, not orange enough. So I think we can use a bit of blue. Instead of using grays, instead of using neutral colors, we are going to just use less orange colors. So a bit of ultramarine blue. Let's check if the value is correct. Yes, I am going to add a bit of violet. And let's do this. Just like that. One and two. Because we have like two little lines going on. The first one and the second one. Something like that. And I am going to use the opportunity to check on this edge. I think that's better. It's not perfect, but more on that later. I'm going to wait another minute.
See if any of our we realized that the colors that we done before were not right. Should we be correcting it now?
What is not right? They are super, super, super different, or
Not
just
no, not super different.
nah, then leave them.
Okay,
Leave them because we are still having the pink influence. So
okay,
when we cover everything and we make the background, then you are going to see how much they need to be changed or not.
okay. Thanks.
No problem. Let's keep going. Now, yes, now I am going to add some of these reflections that we have from the fruit. So just a pinch of red. Maybe they have to be a bit light. So just yellow, red, and a bit of white. If we paint, mixing it with what we have already in the painting, they are going to mix a bit. So it's going to look nice. And a bit darker in the bottom. To make it darker, add red with violet, and you will have a dark red for that. So something like that. And let's correct this edge. So we don't need to be super precise with the reflections, etc. that we have. But if we just add them slightly, just in general form, everything is going to work really, really, really nice. No one is going to compare what we have in the reference and what is in the painting. So just make it more or less. I am adding some more darker violets here. Let's finish with all this contour. And I am stopping again. Okay. Let's continue with the same purples and let's make this little shadow that I lost here. Sometimes I do things that I lose when I paint. The rest, it's something normal. We have to rescue them. So like that, this shadow is rescued. We good, more or less? Okay. I am going to correct this edge too, just a pinch, letting it mix with the paint and making a little transitional brush stroke here. Okay. And I am going to rescue this light color. Instead of, sometimes I do this, and this is another way to add color. Instead of getting away the, again, this little color that I lost here, I am just using this green that I have in my palette right now. So I am adding green instead of just the exact color. And it's okay. So I am going to rescue this shape. Maybe that's too much, right? Okay, now I am going to add this little reflection that I have here. I have ignored that until now. So I am going to just grab a bit of yellow, a bit of red. I haven't cleaned the brush properly because it's okay if I get some colors mixed. I just want to have some whites and yellows here and there, and maybe some reds. We have a nice intense red or maybe orange. So red and yellow here. So just like that. I'm going to adjust yellow here. Or maybe I can leave my sketch showing for the same effect. Okay, that's enough. If you need me to repeat something, some step, because this is not a proper step-by-step painting, but I am just showing you how I understand things in small parts, looking at the reference and just translate them into my painting. Okay, perfect. Let's continue then. Now that we have done this part, we are going to do this other part. So we have the same green to correct this little shape. It has something in the middle, and maybe I can add a bit of white to make this contour, something like that. Again, no perfect. I can grab something in the middle to make this little lighter part. So here. And lastly, this bubble with lighter color in the middle and then darker color outside. So something like that. I think it's enough for this bottom part. So again, 2 minutes. Let's finish this. Okay. Then let's make this edge a bit bluer, I think. Something darker, but not too different from these colors. And I am going to just do something like that. And even darker here, as we can see on the reference. Maybe in the bottom part is not as dark. So here I am going to go back, grabbing the green again, and just blending it a bit here. So like that, more or less, we have something happening there. Let's continue. And we are going to focus now on this handle. So we want something dark. Let's remove all this. No, I'm not going to remove it. I am going to hide that information. Okay. We need something dark to make this contour. So now at this point that everything is more or less the same color as it should be, more or less, I am going to just work as I want. For example, here I need something dark. I am going to put some violet. Maybe it should be a bit yellow or a bit brown, but it's okay. I don't care. So just like that. I am going to I am now realizing that the shape isn't perfect, the drawing isn't perfect, but it's fine. I am not going to erase it. Then I am going to add these darker lines that I can see on the reference. First, the darkest ones, because I have that color in my brush. And later, the rest. So I can see something like that. It's not perfect, just the feeling. At this point, if I want to make the drawing like it is in the reference, I could remove everything and do it again, or I can just pass because no one is going to see how many millimeters do I have from this to this and the size, is it perfect or nah. No one is going to compare that. So I am going to just live with it. Okay, that's great. Then I am going to keep with this violet that I took, and I am going to make it a bit lighter to make this second dark color that I see in the reference. Something here, something here, something here, more or less. And that's it. Maybe even here. Again, I am stopping here. Super fast. These are small steps. Instead of doing as before, big areas, just because this is a bit more detailed maybe, instead of making many steps that we can forget about them, just one by one. But don't overwork it, please. Super fresh, fast, quick. It's going to look better. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's continue then. I am going to just clean the brush a bit because I am going to put the lightest highlights there. And I am going to use the opportunity to make the highlights in all the mug, not only in the handle. So just because I have to do them there, I think it's nice to use the time. So I am making exactly the same as yesterday. I am making two different highlights. One is going to be yellowish. And I don't need to make this with a palette knife because it's going to be just a little amount. And I need to clean the brush again, of course. I don't want them to mix. I am going to do the same with blue. Cobalt teal, cyan, turquoise. Whoops, I have already. Tallow green, something like that. You can see I am using tallow green here. Super, super vibrant. So now I am going to put here some blue that we have in the reference. You can see that, right? And here and here. So you can see how or why it's important having nice contrasts, because if we do everything super light, we are not going to see our highlights. So that's why. And in the middle, I am going to put some yellow. So here, some yellow, yellow. Again, not perfect. I don't care if the reference is a bit complex. It's nice just doing more or less what I see. In this case, I am going to add more green to put it here. And clean again. More yellow, even orange, to put it below the yellow. Because you can see on the reference that we have some nice, interesting yellows and oranges. So here, something like that. And for the rest, I am going to work with this small fine brush. So I am going to take this with the whites, white with this blue, for example. It's going to be easier for me if I want to make all these, for example, here, all these highlights, something like that. Here, here. And if I mix my paint with a lot of medium, I am going to be able to let the paint sit on top of wet paint much easier. So things like that. Here. And again, I am waiting here. Just squiggly lines, nothing perfect, nothing sharp, nothing exact or accurate. We just want to capture the feeling. Now, this is something that that we saw before. I am not watching enough contrast here in this highlight. So I can go lighter in the highlight or darker in the surroundings. And I am going to do the two things. So I am going to grab some violets or blues, whatever, that is a bit darker. And I am going to just put this here. And like that, we have a nice dark context to make this highlight work. Maybe it's not exactly as we see in the reference, but I am sure this will work. And now that we have made the context darker, I am going to do the same, but with the highlight. The highlight is going to be lighter. And on top of blue and yellow, we can put a bit of white with a lot of medium and just in the lightest part. So something like that. Bit of white. Something like that. And I have here also some whites. Okay, just 3 more things and we finish. The first thing is that I have in the reference some slightly oranges reflections here. So I am going to put those with just a couple of brush strokes. It should be enough just for our brain to tell us that we have some reflections like that. That's the first one. The second one is that we need to rescue one of these background colors to make this a bit lighter because that was too dark. So maybe like that. And the third one is that we need again some slightly oranges highlights, but not super light, with a lot of white, a lot of yellow, something like that to put here and there as we see in the reference. So something like that. Here we have also something. Here. Yeah, I think that's it. I am not going to work on this much more for now until we finish everything, all the background, and maybe there we can see if something is missing. So just 1 more minute. We are going to finish this handle and we are going to move on to the rest of the mug that is missing. So we should finish this in 8 to 15 minutes. If we do this, everything is going well. It's nice because we are going to demonstrate ourselves that if we put a time limit, maybe we can work on things pretty nice. We don't need to make things super complex, taking days, weeks, even months. Sometimes it's nice if we just put some time limit. And just because of the class in this case, or for fun when we are painting, because when we finish the painting, we can just correct what we want, like forever. We can make changes forever if we want. So I like speeding it a bit the process and take it slower in the end sometimes. Okay. Now we are going to do all the little things that we see on the reference, but here in this top part. So first, we are going to put this little edge that we have here. And for that, I always do two things, two colors. The first is the background color. So in this case, this blue. Maybe with a bit of white to be a bit lighter. So something like that. And I am going to make this little edge.
Can you adjust your camera up just a smidgen so we can see that?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm going to move everything. I think it's going to be better. So, okay. So I am going to do this with the fine brush. I think it's going to be easier. So just like that. 1, 2, and here the third one. And here, in the contrary, I just need one in the bottom because you can see that we have one light line in the bottom and the other one is darker in the top. So here we are going to do this. We have light in the bottom and darker in the top. We are going to do that. So
Where
now,
and where? Sorry, where and where?
here in this little thingy, in this edge, we have some blues here happening. And you see that this is blue, but then we have some darker color in the top of that. So we are going to paint that darker color in top of the blue. First, I just put the blue, and now I am going to put the darker one. So now I have here some browns and reds from before. I am going to use those to make that brown edge. 1. This is too much for the painting, but we will correct that in a moment.
You're using licking all the time or another medium to do the lights?
This is leaking all the time. You can use
I
any medium you want, but yeah.
I can get like yours, the light with the licking. I'm using another one.
And why you can get that? Because of the texture or because of the color?
Probably both. I guess it. Yeah, I guess it's the texture. Yeah,
If
I
it's
can
because of
like.
the texture, try
Yes.
to put your highlights like that, like parallel to the surface, like that. You put poop
Okay.
and you deposit the highlight into the paint. Instead of putting your brush perpendicular to the surface, you put it like that, parallel to the surface. That should make it easier.
Thank you.
No problem. So we are going to keep going, and I am going to rescue these browns to make this softer in the middle, just a pinch, just here and there. And we are going to do the same here with these browns. Something like that. And here I have something dark also in the bottom part. So I can use some reds or some purples. I don't care at this point. I don't care the hue. I just need something that in the black and white version will make more or less the contrast that I need. So I don't care if the hue is red or blue, it's fine. And it's a nice moment to add some fun colors if you want. Because all the painting is more or less working. So it's fine if we add some extra colors to it. Again, I will stop here and we just have the highlights left. And with that, this little glass would be basically done. For now, at least. Are we good or is something weird? Okay. As you can see now, it's the same as the rest. Just focusing at the reference, looking for details and things to add, translating them into our language, the language that we are using, and just painting them. If we have done the overall thing of the painting more or less like it should be, now we can take some liberties in this part. And now I am going to do the same. I am going to clean my brush so I can use light colors for the highlights. I am going to use a nice yellow, for example, and I am going to put some blue in the middle because I can see here in this highlight, I can see some warm and cool tones. Can you see those? We are going to replicate that super fast. So something like that. Yellow, we are painting something that has blue underneath. So it's going to be super colorful, this highlight. And we are going to do the same here. Can you see that in the reference? So let's try that at the same time. I am going to put that here with a lot of medium so I can make my paint slippery and I can paint wet on wet. And I have here some small details, but don't overmake it, just here and there, something like that. And again, here and here. And now I will stop again. This was just with yellow, white, and a pinch of yellow. You can see how everything pops just because we are painting everything with contrast and colors. The yellow is complementary of the blue, so we are going to have a nice contrast there, hue contrast. And now I'm going to do the same with this blue in the middle. you can see how vibrant it is. And here we have more highlights. But you can see how these aren't as vibrant as the yellow ones, because everything being blue and green, those highlights are not going to be so punchy. But still is nice because we have some highlights with blue, some highlights with yellow, and they are going to be different from each other. So, and I am going to also do some lines here that I can see on the reference. And now I am leaving them mix, not just as the rest of the highlights. So something like that, super quick. Yeah. I am stopping here again. Let's lower your hands. We are super close to end this painting. Okay, perfect. Just two things missing from this cup or mug. The first thing is going to be the whitest white. So if I add just white in my highlights, they are going to be nice, yeah, but if I add the white on top of the mixture of the green or blue and yellow, it's going to be much more intense. So that's one thing. Maybe I can do the same here, just in the lightest highlights, a pinch of white, like that. Okay, I don't want to overwork it. And the second thing is I am going to grab a bigger brush and I am going to fill the gaps. So, whoops, I have to fill here, just like that, here. I don't care the color, I just want to fill that. And lastly, with something light, I need to make like some lines here and there, something like that. Couple of marks, because glass is super shiny, super reflective. So if you add a couple of marks without overworking it, it's going to be nicer. So something like that. And I think I am going to stop here because I know myself. And when I do this, I overwork the glass. So just like that, this is shiny enough. I remember that I listened to a guy talking about my work, like a critique on YouTube. And because his followers were talking about my work, and this guy was telling them, I don't like these paintings because they are too shiny. Because she makes everything shiny and with many highlights, and I don't like that. Okay. So how did you know when you are overworking? When you have overworked something? You never know, but you can guess. So for me, I try to get some signs. For example, when I am painting and I am telling, okay, this is nice, I do another one. This is nice, I do another one. But suddenly I paint something and I say, maybe this was better before. So now that's a sign that you have to stop. And you want to stop and you are going to do another one. And maybe it's going to be good, but you are going to do a second wrong one. Then you are going to stop. So for example, now for me, this brushstroke isn't good. So let's stop here. See, and I am keeping the same. When you start to regret what you are painting, that's the moment when you have to stop. Sometimes we are removing the freshness from the painting. So you are going to feel that. You are going to feel that something isn't okay with your last brushstroke. That's the moment to stop. We have this little spoon. I am going to just super quick. I think blue is nice. Maybe blue with violet. You are going to see that I am just adding a little line like that. So just like that, we have a spoon. If you want to get fancy, couple of small highlights like that, yeah, it's okay. It's a spoon. We are going to understand that as a spoon. We don't need anything more. So just like that, the cup is done, and we have these 30 minutes remaining for the background, which you may think it's just insane, but remember that the background is flat. We don't have anything in the background going on. Everything is super, super, super flat. So I am going to grab my big brushes, clean this a bit, and we are going to do the background. We are not going to spend the whole remaining class on the background because I want to give you a couple of insights on the rest of the painting. And I want to give you a bit of a space if you have any other questions or something that you want to address. So we are going to just go fast with this background. I usually do that in my paintings. When I have to paint the background, it's like crazy because it's something boring. Instead of making all the details. Okay. If we want to grab attention to the objects, and the objects are already too detailed and with a lot of shiny things going on, and the background has to be a bit less intense. So we have to have contrast there. Texture contrast. The texture in the objects has to be a bit more busy, maybe. The background is going to be simpler. So we are going to grab blue, and I am going to rescue the same colors, but in big quantities as we had before. So I am going to grab the tallow green or blue and green, or yeah, why not? Blue, green, yellow, but super subtle because we are painting white. So yeah, we are enhancing that white, but we are going to respect the value. So something like that. We have this green that we needed for this part. Yeah, that works. Okay, the second one is going to be the blue for the back. So I need ultramarine blue with my white, but I don't want to make it super intense. So maybe I have to make it just a pinch less saturated with this red. It's going to get more violet because the ultramarine is already kind of violet. And if I add red, of course, it's going to be super, super violet. But not as violet or as purple as this one that we said that we needed for the part with shadow. So we are going to just do this. I am squinting my eyes to see the value of this because I need the purple to be less light, a bit darker. So this has to be the darkest one. I think that's nice. So again, just a couple of minutes. Let me know when you are done with your colors. And I am going to get crazy with the background. You will see this is super easy. This is the easiest part. Let's change the camera angle in the meantime. So something like that. I can do it better. Come on. I'm going to make this again smaller. Even though you are going to see some black parts, I think it's better if you see the whole picture. So sorry for the black lines. Okay. Are we good with the colors? Yes. So I am going to grab my, I need something big. Something. Okay. For example, this. Oh, I have here another one. These two. Something a bit larger. Not super crazy, but something larger. And with medium, I am going to start with this. And check. I don't dislike it, but maybe it can be a bit darker as we have in this little test. So I will do that. Changing it with the brush on the go. So like that. And you know what? I am not going to make this little triangle because it doesn't make sense. So more or less. Yeah, and now I am going to make the gradient. So now I need to move this towards blue. So a bit of blue. Let's see. Cleaning the brush a bit with a rag or a paper towel. And you can see that I am just covering. Whoops. I need to correct that in a moment. So yeah, I like that blue. So we have to contrast all the time. We needed something lighter than the inside, as you can see on the reference. So it's a nice color. And now here is when we stop, because we have this little shadow that we are going to paint. And again, same as we said with the egg before, I don't love having everything with the same color. So I am going to just add some purple, some blues here and there, just to enhance this small area. Because of course, eyes need some space to rest, but we don't need a super flat zone. So with that, you can see that I am leaving a bit the background here to have some cohesion with the rest. So with that, I think it's something nice. Something like that. I said I was going to leave the drawing showing a bit here. So this is what I am doing. because of that yellow, it's going to make a nice detail. So something like that. And with that, I have all this part covered. And now I am going to do the same in this other part. So super quickly. We need this to be a bit darker than the top part of the handle. So we are doing this nice. And now we need to make the transition towards this little green that we made. So with this blue. And that's easy now because we already made the plan before. And usually I do this when I make the drawing, all these little plans of which color I am going to put in the background, etc., because it's going to save me a lot of time. And I am now thinking maybe just because we did the gradient in the background, we have some blues, some purples, maybe we can go ahead and add a bit of yellow in the top part. So we can use that rule of making, of putting warmer colors in the top part, in the close part, sorry. So maybe I am going to just put it here. A bit of green. Same as here. I'm going to put this. Okay. And now I am going to finish it with yellow. Yes. First, surround this one. Okay. And now add yellow to the mixture. And just like that, making all these little gradients to make the painting more interesting. And again, I am going to wait here until you make this. I am adding some little brush strokes here and there. And as you see, everything is covered now. Since we spent a lot of time in the main objects, now the rest is so much easier. I think it's really nice. I am now questioning myself about this little triangle that we have in the corner. Maybe we should do that, maybe not, because that would justify why this part is darker. So I don't know. Maybe for this being an exercise, maybe we can leave this like that. But if you are going to change the background, you should think of the consequences, because removing these two objects that we have here, that won't have any consequences because we are not changing any light, any shadow, etc. But removing this triangle here in the corner, maybe that won't justify why we have that dark corner. So I don't know, maybe if I could paint this again, I would change that. And I have left on purpose these little gaps, not on purpose at first, but when I have realized that I had these little gaps, I have not covered them intentionally because I love having this pink showing. It's going to create a nice atmosphere in the painting. Everything is going to be contaminated by this pink, not only because our color choices have been influenced by this pink, but also because the pink is going to show in the little gaps that we leave. So when you do this with reds, pinks, yellows, and orange, that will add some interesting light to the painting. But if you do that with teal, blue, purple, any cool colors, you have to be careful because that will add a lot of coolness, if that's a word. So how are you with this background? Not yet? Couple more minutes? Oh yeah, you're right. If you have to make everything opaque with the acrylic, it's going to take time. But it's okay if the pink shows. So maybe you can use that into your own advantage. Sometimes, even though I am painting with oils, I can grab some brush and remove some of the, just to create some transparencies. And I think it's going to look nice. So even with, something crazy, right? But since we have a pink underneath, not just a white, boring canvas, I think it's going to be nice if you leave that pink breathe a bit. So I will do the next mix. Super easy, which is this little shadow. Instead of doing gray, you will guess that I am not doing it gray. I have already made that decision without realizing it. So here we have used some purples for this shadow. So we have to use the same for the rest. If we have to have some a nice cohesive palette in the painting, we have to maintain the rules that we have to create it. So I am just grabbing this purple, making it a bit darker with more purple, more blue, and that's it. I am going to use this. Maybe this is too blue. I am going to use this other red to make it less blue. And I am going to use this for the shadows. And I am going to grab a different brush because I don't want to clean the first one. I will clean them later. So checking. Yeah, that works. And you can guess what's next. We will add a couple of details here. So I am going to just cover this, but not entirely. We are going to also make some gradients. For example, in the interior of the clementine, you can see that the bright oranges and reds are making some colors here, some nice colors. So I am going to just add that here and here. So basically near the clementine, all the shadow is going to be more red. We can understand that with the brain. So we can say, okay, this is red because of the transparencies of the clementine, or because of the reflection of the clementine hitting into the background, blah, blah, blah. Or we can just see at the reference objectively without making any judgment. Just watching at the reference, I can see here something is darker, so that's it. And just like that, I know how to fill the background. And even though the table is white, we have some different variations, and it's nice to have them on the painting. At first, I didn't want to take this reference picture because these glass or these shadows are not the most interesting ones, are a bit flat. You are going to see in the Google folder I am going to share with you, and also on Patreon, I am going to share with you more references from this session that I made when I didn't know which one to use exactly for the workshops. So I made like a lot. And I wanted to use a different one with more elements just because of the shadows. They were more interesting with more shadows in general. We have like 2 shadows at least, but I think that was a bit more complex. You are going to see that. So if you want to check that and do that in your free time, you will have all the reference in the Google folder, and you can use those. And of course, you can show me if you want, and I will help you with those paintings too. And remember that I made shadow 1, shadow 2 in the sketch. I am just adding those here. So just a separation between the 2 shadows. And that's it. I am going to leave again 3-4 more minutes so you can finish this background, and we are going to make a couple of details that
So,
maybe we can correct. Yeah.
Random question, because I'm in acrylic and stuff's drying. When I look at the photo, I do see orange reflected back in certain places on.
Exactly.
Okay, I was gonna say, before my paint dries, should I be laying that?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, if you want, let's do that. I was going to see that one of the things that we can correct is that the orange is being reflected into the background,
Okay.
into the table. So we can do that if you want. Just super subtle. So here, right?
Yeah.
So here, I always say that you can do all the my classes, etc., with acrylics too, because in the end we are learning color theory. But you are right that I forget entirely about these little details. That if you want to make something blend, maybe you have to be quick. So yeah. The pain of the acrylic. So just adding some reds here and there when you can see where you can see them. And that's it. but not only redness, but also light. We have some light reflected into the table. So here, for example, instead of adding red, I'm going to correct that with a bit of light. Here too, if you take a look in around the glass, I can add a couple of lights so I can separate the object from the base, from the table or the surface in general. So yeah. So this is basically the painting. Now, of course, you can change things and overwork it until you are satisfied with that. So now I always try to leave 5 more minutes before considering finish it. So, for example, now that everything is covered, I am sure that you will be better judging your colors. You are going to see everything more neutral, less intense, even more those who have the neon pink on their painting. I am sure everything is going to work better now. So now, in my case, that I have everything covered, I can see slight things that I could change. For example, I am not watching the same or enough contrast below this. I will add that slightly, and below this. So let's correct that. Here I missed this and that. Let's correct that. And now I can see that a couple of highlights, super important. I forgot about them, so I am going to just go ahead and add here. You can see poof, poof, couple of highlights. Yeah, that's enough. So now that everything is covered, you can judge everything much better. You can put everything in black and white and see, okay, where am I wrong? What should I correct? And also, now that I have the background, I think I can correct some edges because I have to paint the objects on top of the table. So I cannot paint the table on top of the objects. That wouldn't make sense. So here, for example, I have painted without realizing the background on top of the Mac. So I can go ahead, take some of the color again and correct that. But to be honest, I don't dislike that. Or here in the clementines, I can do the same. If I want to correct some edge, I can go ahead and just grab the color and do that. And at this point, this is the same as before. I don't need to grab the exact same color because everything is working nice. So I just add some little lines here and there, some interest, for example, this little yellow here. Here I can add some yellow. I don't know. Now that everything is correct, covered, you can add some details. That's the thing. I need more medium, but I didn't want to spend more medium in just a couple of brushstrokes. So just a pinch. Okay, that's not a pinch. So now that everything is covered, and sometimes I cover everything just as the latest step. That's why we spend so much in the two objects. But sometimes when I am painting in a pretty similar background. For example, imagine if we have, well, imagine no, those who have the background in neon, the base, what I do is covering the base super quickly. So rushing everything until the end, cover everything super quickly, and then just make the adjustments in the end. Because that neon pink, or imagine we have some orange or some reds, those are going to be super tiring and they are going to provoke eye fatigue. So if I want to avoid that, I will cover everything super fast, and that will help me make better judgments. But usually, if I don't have any troubles and if everything is more or less as always, I will just cover it in the end when I have everything super finished. So yeah. Even though you don't consider the painting finished, I usually advise to sign the painting when you do the background, because you can either blend your brushstroke if you are doing with a brush with the background and you are going to make it a bit more subtle, or you are going to scrub with a brush or with a knife or with a silicone tool like I did, and you are going to sync with your underpainting, which is really cool. So sometimes I am working in a big piece and I have like 3 sessions more to finish, and I put the signature in the middle of the painting just because I want the signature to look nice. I don't want something super contrasting, super distracting. Of course, I need to sign the painting, but maybe it can be also subtle. And if people want to see where the signature is, they are going to look for it. You don't need to have a super big, intense signature that is going to make everything distracting from the oil painting or the painting. So sadly, all these colors need to go. As you can see how easy this palette gets cleaned. If I were not going to paint tomorrow, I would put these colors in a fridge because they would be better for the next session. But since I am going to paint tomorrow, I am going to leave my palette as it is. Even the brushes, I am not going to clean the brushes because I will use everything tomorrow. So before you take me, this was difficult and rushed and annoying to make. Hopefully not. I wanted to tell you that I don't know when I am going to do next workshops, but I am going to put my I'm going to be here. So I don't know when, sorry, I am going to make more workshops online and offline. But I'm going to visit United States on September. I am going to do a little trip. It's going to take 3 weeks, and I am going to visit 3 or more, if I can, main cities: New York, Florida, Los Angeles maybe, and I am thinking about DC, So I wanted to let you know because if you have any feedback, if you have any city you want me to visit, or if you know any place where I can make workshops or events, or you know any, I don't know, school, academy, anything that can bring me to make a workshop, I can do that. So you can let me know if you want me to go there. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, and any feedback you may have from this workshop or for the next workshop, of course, you can talk to me. You can tell me even now if you want, or just talk to me in the email. Are we good with the painting?
It was really nice. Thank you, Alai.
Thank you. So, did you finish the painting?
I never finished a painting.
I knew that this could be a bit challenging, but if you only have to feel the background, it's something that you can do without any problem, I am sure. So,
I'm just adding highlights.
no, because if we do more highlights, we are going to overdo the highlights. Oh, wow, that's nice. Oh, true. If you want, you can show your piece and I can make a screenshot. That is really nice, Joshua. I really like how you even painted the edges of the. That is a nice pink, warm painting overall. Okay, Marina, and you don't consider that finished? Those are finished. Come on. Of course, you can do a bit more. Okay, put all together, please. I am going to make a screenshot. Okay. No, Veronica, no. I can see you now. Okay, please, Alexis. You put the hand. No. It's perfect. Don't worry. Don't cover it. Thank you. I have made several screenshots and I am going to just make a little collage to put the best photo of each one. Don't worry. If you are a slow painter, it's perfectly fine. You can just take your time and you can show me your painting. Oh, that's great. Tornari, thank you. Yeah, show if you want. I haven't made the screenshot. Tornaris? I don't know if I am pronouncing your name well.
Were you saying Donna? What were you saying?
What? That's great. Thank you. I think I have like 30 screenshots right now in my computer. I will make a little thank you, a little collage. And I will, if you want, yeah, exactly. If you want to show me later, thank you, Alice. That's really nice. I really like how I like to see all the different paintings that we make from the same reference. And we are painting at the same time and still making them so different. It's amazing. So you can show me your photo, a nice photo, not just like that, by email if you want. And send me your Instagram username, please. Or just talk to me by Instagram. If you want me to tag you, of course. If you don't want me to tag you, just ignore that. So was it good? Or do you have any doubt, question, anything to add?
It was very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Talk to me,
Really
okay?
nice. You.
If you have any question, you can talk to me during the month, during whatever. Okay, talk to me, send me your questions, send me your paintings, send me your feedback.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am using treacle brushes. They are really nice. I don't know. I think they are my favorite right now. So yeah.
Actually, I have one last question.
Yeah, sure.
How do you like varnish your paintings?
When I use fast drying mediums like this one, I can varnish the painting in just a week. So when you touch your painting and it's dry to the touch, you can already varnish your painting. And I use Gambar. It's also from this brand from Gambling. It's the same as this, but it's called Gambar. And they are super nice because you don't have to wait like six months to varnish your painting, and they are going to protect from UV rays your painting. So just like that, with a
Thank you.
white brush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a nice night as well,
Thank you.
because we're in the same time zone.
Yeah, I see.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye. Thank you for
Bye.
it was lovely. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.